Hi, I'm Peggy with Headshots by Peggy, and today Emily Churchill returns on my show, and I'm so excited. We are going to talk about acting, we're going to talk about taxes, we're going to talk about all sorts of things.
Yes. Who knows what'll come out? I don't know.
I know. We're going to talk about probably, I don't even know. We're just, we were talking so much before I hit record. I was like, oh my God, we have to. It's just been so long since I've seen you. I'm so excited that you're here.
Me too.
So tell everybody, you are like a badass tax lady. Like, you understand actors' taxes. That's the main thing I want to cover, but there are so many other things we're going to talk about. But you are like the tax queen. Mary and I love you because you really understand. It's hard when you're an actor or even when you're self-employed to find somebody that really understands what the heck. Mary comes to a tax prep and hands 50 W-2 forms over to them and says, yes, and actually I'm self-employed and I need to claim these deductions. And they're like, what? And you're like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
So talk to everybody about how important it is to know how to file taxes if you're an actor.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's interesting because the reason I got into taxes, I've been an actor for quite a while. Let's not say numbers.
Okay. An amazing actor at that. Just throw that out there.
Oh, thank you. But I did not do my taxes, my own taxes for a while. And then when I moved to LA, I needed, a side job, and I have a marketing degree. And so this person who I'm so thankful for, introduced me to Actors Tax Prep, which is no longer in operation. It's now M&M Tax Pros, which is where I work now. But anyway, we specialize in industry taxes. Now, I do other taxes, real estate and all that stuff, but we specialize in entertainment taxes. And what is amazing about that is now I know where my money's going. Before I did not. And so it's really important, especially for artists, because our money comes from all different sorts of things, right? We get a W-2, yet we get a 1099, and it's the same. We did the same thing, but it's not the same sort of income. And I think it's really important for artists to know that, right? To know what that W-2 is, to know what that 1099 is and where it goes, and the expenses I can take against it. Because as we all know, anyone watching this and who's in the industry, we spend a lot of money getting our career going, right? And throughout our career, we spend a lot of money getting it going and keeping it going. And so I think it's really important for people to know that, and to know that they can take those business expenses, in the parameters of the law. And I think it's really important, and that can save you legally. It can save you a lot of money, which you are entitled to. So it's really important for you guys to know, for everybody to know that. Well, no, I mean, I think, I think I pretty much summed it up, but yeah, it's really important for artists to know their money in general, because a lot of artists don't even want to think about it. And I get that, because a lot of us are right-brained. And having the left brain come in, they're like, oh no, I don't want to. But it's really important for y'all to know where your money's coming from and where you're putting your money, because no one cares about your money as much as you do. And I think that's really important for everyone to know.
And I know that when we first came to you, we were deciding whether we were going to incorporate. We had a lot of things going on. And when we first came to you, like anything, like money is something hard to talk to people about. Yeah. Like, it's personal, and everybody has their own insecurities and their own things about money. And, when we want society to think we're here and we know we're really here. And, there's all these, money is like, it's not just a number. Like, money is like, it has ties, like emotionally, spiritually, like money's really deep. And it's not that I ever felt like I needed to hide anything. I always just felt like I'm probably not doing as good a job as I should be. And I don't want to show a professional what an idiot I've been all these years. It's like, it was that, like, feeling of, I've owned my own business for what, 20 some years to almost 30 years by the time we met you. And I'm like, I should know how I should be like, here, this is so organized. And I'm instead coming with shoe boxes and receipts, basically. And so, but you made it so you understand that. And you're like, listen, that's why I'm here. So we know that you don't know what the heck you're doing. It's okay. No one does. That's why I'm here. And it just made it so comfortable. And I feel like a lot of big name actors have gotten into big trouble because of taxes.
Yep. Yes.
And it's not because they're evil people. It's not because they don't want to pay their taxes. It's because they've had the wrong people telling them the wrong things and they believed it. So, it doesn't matter where your career is, if you're like barely starting or if you're, an A-list actor, you still need somebody that you trust doing, your money, because that's your money.
Well, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is you need to like your tax preparer. Like I've had people come to me and be like, oh, I got fed up with my last tax preparer. And I'm like, well, what happened? And they're like, they made me feel bad every time I came in. I'm like, oh my heavens, no. Because it is such a personal thing. Like you're giving that tax preparer your personal information, right? And so you want to make sure you feel comfortable with them and feel comfortable with what they're doing. And they should always share what they're doing. You should never sign your return and not know what's in it. Because I think that happens a lot too. So it's always good to know exactly what's going into that return and to be comfortable with who you're working with.
So what other than my tip would be go see Emily, but aside from that, because clearly you're not going to be able to handle all of my viewers, if they all called you would be like, yeah, I wish. But some of you, I'm sure you could handle a few new clients, but what would be your suggestion? How do they find a good tax prep? How do they find somebody that understands the industry? What questions do they need to ask?
So, one of the easiest things that you can do, and this is going to sound so easy that you might roll your eyes, and that's okay, but you can literally type in Google industry or, Hollywood industry tax preparers near me, hit return and see what comes up. I work for M&M Tax Pros, and I of course, because I work there, we are all in the industry, and if you reach out to Craig, he's our office admin, he will put you in contact with any of, our wonderful tax preparers. And because we're all in the industry or have been in the industry at some point, we understand those deductions. And I think that is huge because, people that do taxes that are not in the industry, they sometimes will look at you and be like, you can't take headshots off. Yes, you can. Okay. Because that helps your business. And so, doing a very simple search will bring up results that you can check out. And I would check them out. I would check out several different ones to see which one feels right for you. Because just because this person does industry taxes doesn't mean that you're going to jive with that person and that person's going to be a great match. It's like a relationship, right? So you want to make sure that you are, getting in contact with the people that you feel comfortable with. And once you feel comfortable with them, it helps to go back year after year. And I tell you, the first year will be a little tough, most likely, because they're trying to get you in order. But then it's easier every year because you know each other, you know what's going on at that point. And I hope it becomes easier for everybody.
Well, that's the experience that we've had. And I know that for a while before we moved to LA, we were living in San Diego and Merrick was driving to LA for work. So he had like a bazillion miles and it was before we met you. And the tax was, you can't claim that. You can't claim those. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm driving to work. Like this is my work, and it's so it is complicated because it's not like, well, you go 3 miles to work every day. No, you may go 10 miles, you may go 5 miles, you may go 100 miles. It's really a different experience. So it's very important that you find somebody and don't put it off because
that's true.
Putting it off is just, it's like you have a little scratch and you're like, yeah, it's infected and I'll clean it tomorrow. And then tomorrow your whole arm is infected. And that's kind of it's kind of what happens when you put off doing this, because eventually you're going to have to do it or go to jail. So just do it. Just
Well,
do
yeah,
it.
just do it, and it does keep a weight on you if you don't. Whether you realize it or not, there's going to be a weight after every year that you don't file, because inside you'll be like, I think I should file, I think I should file, but I'm too scared. Most people are too scared to file, is what I've, in my experience, they're just too scared. And so when they finally come to me, and I mean, fortunately, I can't take, clients that are 5 years behind. I used to be able to, but because of my schedule, I can't now. But, they would come to me. I'm like, why have we not filed? Like, what's going on? And they literally, I mean, I've had people cry in my office and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, well, just take a deep breath first off. Okay, no one's going to die. Second off, we can do this. This is okay. We'll get through it. And so once you start that process, it just snowballs, and it's easier, and you have like a weight lifted from you. You're like, oh, I'm up to date. Thank heavens,
Now, another thing, you don't just prepare taxes. You actually have like a whole bunch of titles behind your name. You
Oh.
are, you're like a big shot. You're like in the IRS tax people. Like,
I'm in the IRS. No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and say the truth of what I just said. So tell us.
Let me
Just clear up what I just said there.
Yeah, so I'm old agent with the IRS. What that means is, I'm sure the IRS heard that, they're like, no, she's not with us, But what that means is, enrolled agent. So all of my testing has gone through the IRS, and I test every year. And my license is actually issued from the IRS. So I'm in the eyes of the IRS, I'm on the same lines as a tax attorney and a CPA. But the difference of me is that I just do taxes, and a CPA and a tax attorney deal with, many other things in addition to taxes. And so mine is a bit laser focused on tax laws and everything that changes year to year, which is happening a lot lately. We'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah. There's been a new tax return the last 4 years.
Every year.
Every year, it's new. You're like, oh, okay. Gotta learn this one this year too. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's been an interesting, yeah.
So what that basically means is, if there are problems with the IRS, you can actually kind of go on the behalf of your client and say, this is what we've got prepared, and this is, so it's not just like hiring somebody at H&R Block, or I don't know, I probably shouldn't have thrown one of the storefront tax places.
Yeah.
But you really are knowledgeable. You didn't just take a quick test, and you're not just doing this as a seasonal thing. You are actually licensed. You know your stuff. So that's important too.
Yes,
very
for
important.
Sure. Well, and it's important. I don't know. Have you always lived in California?
No, I've lived in California for 18 years.
Okay, because the reason, it's so good that you brought that up, because in California, you have to be CTEC certified, and this is before I became an EA. I had to take schooling even before I became an EA to do taxes in California. Now, I'm from Illinois. That is not the case in Illinois. You can do other people's taxes. This is not set in stone, but I believe, at least when I lived there, my tax preparer, I'm not even sure if he was certified, because in Illinois, it's not such a thing as in California, where we have to be CTEC certified, we have to be an EA to be able to do taxes for others. So be sure to, wherever you live, that the person that you're working with does know their stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
It is.
So do your homework. Don't just like, oh, well, this is a, oh, look, they're running a special or a sale or whatever. This is your life you're talking about, because these things done poorly will haunt you, and also can cost you a lot more than the whatever fee that you charge. Because if you're not getting the deductions that you deserve, you may have deserved thousands of dollars back, but you're like, oh, I didn't want to spend an extra $100, so I went here. And it's like, wow, that was, there's a lot of, the scale is really uneven as to, it's like anything else. You get what you pay for, and it's better to just, pay for, and your prices are really reasonable. It's clearly, we're not going to talk about that. If people are interested, they can call you and get all that set
Yeah.
up, because I know that's really individual. But I just really encourage you to at least get your taxes done by somebody that you
Yes.
trust,
Mhm.
and don't put it off, because this is the time of the year that you need to be thinking about that. Your W-2s are
They're
coming
coming.
in a little late this year for some reason.
Yeah, I've been noticing that. So they're legally supposed, and this is 1099s too. They're legally supposed to be sent by the 31st, but because the 31st was a Sunday, I believe it was yesterday, is when they have to be sent out. But I mean, I know people still are getting things. So just, I usually say wait till February 15th. And if there's things you haven't gotten yet, then let's look and see where they're at and why you haven't gotten them.
And then a lot of people were on unemployment for the first time, because they had the pandemic unemployment in California anyway. For people in the industry could actually, some of you qualified to be on unemployment. And you've probably, if you've always been, self-employed entrepreneur, you've probably never qualified for unemployment before. So you're like, now what? So
Yes.
that's an extra thing that you really need to think about this year is, things are just different. So definitely
Yes.
don't put things off. Don't put things off.
No, and just since we're speaking of unemployment, because I know there's a lot of people, I guess I'll just list this off if this is okay. The stimulus payments are not taxable. Unemployment is taxable. It has always been taxable, and the extra $600 or however much extra you got is taxable. But and I recognize this because I'm a tax preparer, but I doubt many people did. If you got the extra 600, they did not take taxes out on the 600. They took it out on just whatever your maximum benefit was, at least in my instance. So be careful of that too. Just know, hey, I might not have had as many taxes as I should have on the unemployment. California does not tax unemployment, so that's always a good plus. And the PPP loans, grants that are out there, it's been back and forth. In May it was, or in April it was something else, but then in December, they did pass a CARES Act that was saying that the loan is not taxable. It is a loan, so you need to, pay it back, to deal with the borrower on that. But the expenses, this is where it comes into your tax stuff. The expenses you paid with that loan, you are able to take now. Now that was not ruled in April, but they changed the ruling. So that's it for really the stimulus. And it is going to be an interesting tax season because of that. But knowing those few things, you should be able to feel a little bit more calm about it. And I will talk about TurboTax for just a minute, because I've had a question about it. Well, I was doing a seminar, they're like, do you recommend TurboTax? And I'm like, okay, no. Okay, so the reason I say that is, and the reason I say, even for anything that says free, make sure that it is free, because usually it's not. It'll say free, and then you have to pay for the state return, you have to pay for all these things that you have to file, so it's like, okay. So be sure of that. But also, I would not recommend doing your own taxes unless you know taxes. I've had so many people come to me with TurboTax returns who didn't know taxes. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening, Lord, love and light. But they didn't know what to do. And so they came to me, got audited because, to my knowledge, TurboTax or other software companies just ask you, like, do you have business expenses? But they don't put it where it's supposed to go, right? If you're on a 1099, that's going to go on your Schedule C. If you're a W-2, that's going to go on your 2106. And so please be cautious of doing those tax returns yourself, and really know, do you know what you're doing? Because a lot of times TurboTax is doing things like you should know what you're doing, and not everybody does, So that's my take on that.
I don't know what I'm doing. So I'll speak for myself. And I have used, TurboTax and things over the years. And I just feel so much more confident just saying, here, Emily, here's my year in a mess. Make this make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It does help. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. That's good to know, because I know I have been getting nonstop ads on my emails,
Yes.
TurboTax, Credit Karma, like all, everybody's like, hey, how about us? How about us? We'll do your taxes. So
Yeah. And also be aware of the whole thing of getting your refund sooner. Um, because, and I don't know, because we don't do that at our tax firm. It's not really kosher, because I believe what they're doing is they're giving you a loan for the refund that you're going to be getting, and so you want to make sure if there's any penalties to, or not penalties, if there's any interest that they're charging you to get that refund beforehand. So just be aware of that. I don't know, because I don't work for that, but when they say that, I'm like, how are they able to do that? Because you can't really do something without the IRS sending you the money, right? Like, so I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. So be careful. Be careful.
Yeah. Be careful.
So, all right. So let's talk about what's new in your life. 2020, we were kind of talking about it before we hit record. Like 2020 has been deeply a sorrowful year. It's been a tough year. It's been a hard year. We've probably all at this point experienced losses of loved ones or colleagues or family members that we know. But aside from that, and aside from just feeling overwhelmed 90% of the time, it's also been a really good year. Like there's a lot of good things that have happened. So tell us what's going on with you.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know if you can see it. I also am a Reiki master. I know. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. You're gonna be like, wait, she does taxes, she's an actor, and she does spiritual stuff. Yes, that's right. So we got a whole package here. But
And I've actually worked with you for 2 of the 3. I haven't done your headshots yet, by the way. I'm just to throw that out there.
That's right. That's right.
I know, because the pandemic hit and that we were like, ah.
So true. We'll have to make that happen though. And side note, my husband and I keep looking at Alhambra because we want to move out there. We're like, oh, this is a wonderful place.
We really should.
Such
really good. I think our neighbors are moving. They're remodeling their house. So I'll
please. Yep.
Very few people I would offer to be neighbors with. I would so be neighbors with you and your husband.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. And my husband is a director, camera person. Like you guys would jive so well.
We would just put a door in the gate between our houses and just go back and forth to my studio. We just collab and make it one big studio.
I love that. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
That was so funny.
But yeah, no, this past year has been, which we all know, has been very interesting. Because I don't want to say bad or good, but I think it's very interesting what happened this year, 2020, because the things that happened, I think, I know, at least in my life, opened my eyes to things that I hadn't seen before, even in my own life and my professional life of like, am I doing what I am having fun doing? Do I like doing this? And I don't think we've had the chance as a society to take a breath and really look at that question and what does that mean? And so, yeah, like it was a tough year. It still is. I mean, I don't know about you, but every time I go to bed at night, I'm like, woo, got through another day. It's like every day seems like a year long.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like everybody that's cohabitating with their spouse or lifetime partner or whatever that may be can just add like 5 years to their relationship. Be like, yeah, well, we've technically been together 5 years, but we're just going to call it 10.
Yes, it's so true. So true. And I mean, even things in relationships have come to the forefront of, oh my God, like in my case, I'm like, thank God for my husband. Like I have so much more appreciation even than I did before. I'm like, I couldn't have gone through this without you. Thank God. Or the other way, you're like, oh, this isn't really me. And, taking the steps that you need to take for that. But yeah, it was an interesting year, but I'm really thankful, and I hope that the things that came up to all of us within 2020 and moving on really is putting us in a position to move forward in a positive way and move forward with our eyes open instead of having them closed, like I feel like we have been for a while.
I believe that too. I think that a lot of problems that have been there forever and ever and ever have festered and come to light. I don't think that 2020 caused anything. I don't think the
No.
last 4 or 5 years caused anything. I think that it was all there underlined, and now we all saw it. And now we have the decision, like, what are we going to do with this knowledge that we have? What are we going to do with this newfound knowledge? Are we going to bury it and get busy with life again? Are we going to say, no, it's time to make some changes? And I think that I've probably made more, like, I've always felt that I was a very open-minded, caring, loving kind of a person. And last year, like, I dug deeper in a lot of areas that I had never noticed, because I mean, I am a white woman that was raised in the Midwest, and there was just things that I took for granted that I didn't realize really impacted other people.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to really have deep conversations and really grow. And I think that this year has just been, in that way, it can be and it should be something that's really set us all on a higher level. And I know that my career has, obviously I haven't had a lot of clients because, I'm a in
Oh
person close
yeah.
up,
Yeah.
but I'm doing consultations, I'm doing speaking, I'm doing all these other things that I would have never thought to do because I was always busy, with
Yep.
even with just busy work, like not even doing anything, just busy, you just that. And so it kind of gave us a time to like center and think, who am I? What do I want? And what really, and I think that's the miracle of 2020 to
Yeah.
me.
Me too. Me too.
And
And just you saying that you realized other avenues to make money, and we need that. Those are things that maybe none of us saw, but now we see and we're like, yes, we need that. Yes, we need that in our lives. And so I do think it was a miracle in the sense of showing us what we need to do in every area, right, of our lives, like not even society, but even in our personal lives. Like,
mhm.
wait, what's going to make me happy, and how can I make other people happy by doing this, right? So yeah, I think it's important.
So I don't think anybody's ever really heard me talk spiritual stuff on my
Oh,
on my show here. So right before the pandemic, I actually saw you for some Reiki.
oh
And
yeah.
I'm always doing self work and stuff. And it was like a really powerful, thing. Because a lot of times we don't realize that health issues are really rooted in emotional issues and traumas and different things. And so it was just timely. I kind of think about this a lot, that I had just seen you before like the pandemic happened. And it was like, well,
Oh
it
yeah.
was just really kind of cool timing that I've had all that to kind of like all the stuff that kind of came up in that, like I still like, the things you said and the stuff, I still like hold on to that. And I think especially when you're an actor, and a producer, a DP, or whatever you do, if you work in this industry, it's a lot.
Mhm.
Like,
It is.
people that don't work in the industry could never understand the lifestyle that we all share. And yet it's different. Like, my experience in the industry is different than yours as an actor. And but we still, like, yeah, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you got here at 7 a.m. and you're not going to be on set till 4, but for some reason you had to be here at 7 a.m. And like,
So true.
and it was like they're calling your agent because you were here at 7:15 instead of 7. It was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do?
So
And just
true.
that hurry, hurry, hurry all the time, and things change. And like, that's a lot on humans to live in a life that's that way. And I don't know if anybody's really built for it. I think some people adapt to it better than others, but it's a really fun thing. And I think that taking this time out to be like, yeah, and this is why I do it, and this is who I am, and this is what I want to accomplish, and this is where I'm going. That's my hope, that people really took time in 2020,
Yeah.
because I know that that I feel like I am years further ahead in my career than I would have been without this break. Like I've always kind of felt like I'm doing pretty good, but
Yeah.
I just feel like I've just, you know, in every area of my career, I just feel so much more established and settled
Mm,
and and I know you were talking, you're getting tons of auditions and all these things are working and it's like this is awesome. So I
yeah.
think the people that took the time to put the work in, we're going to see it pay off.
I do too. And it's interesting that you say that because I don't know if you know this, but I started my spiritual business last year in 2020. It's called letshealthishshit.com. That's the website. But I tell you, I do a New Year's workshop, and I did last year's in February. I'm doing February 12th this year, so it was around that time last year, right? And we did not know as a society what was going to be happening, and I'm not a master astrologer, but I follow a master astrologer because I think it's very interesting. And I had mapped out the year, and it literally said in March something was going to happen. And then everything that was happening in society was things that we talked about astrologically. Now, I'm not saying you should believe it or not. What I'm saying is the spirituality and looking outside of myself helped me stay calm through 2020, no matter what happened, because a lot of things happened that were very heartbreaking. And I did feel the heartbreak. It's not that I was letting it, I felt it, but I was also like, okay, but we're going to be okay. And I'm going to be able to move forward. And I think people that were stuck in that fear mindset of what was happening, I think it was harder for them to feel that way and to be able to move forward. So I'm with you. I hope that people took the time to delve into their authenticity and their foundation, because that's what's going to help us move forward, from here on out, I think.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with you. I
Yeah.
think it was a lot. And I think, we're still, I mean, we're not over it. It's not over.
No, it's not over yet. It's okay.
It's not over yet. But I think we've come to a place of acceptance. At least I have. I've come to a place of this is what life is right now. And I'm home a lot. And thank God for a big house so we can all take our appropriate corners from time to time and get a little
Yeah.
bit of space, which I never stop being thankful for. And I'm very fortunate because we have friends that were quarantining alone.
Oh,
And we were
can
fortunate. We have each other. Our oldest daughter came back because she was like, hey, I'm working from home and I can't work from home in my studio apartment in the Bay Area. Can I come down for a month? Almost a year ago now, or a couple months, it'll be a year.
yeah.
But so I'm very thankful to not be alone, to have my family here, and we've just all gotten along. I mean, we've all had our moments. We're human, but
Yeah.
as a whole, it's just been such a fun time, and we've made time to talk to people that we normally would just not make time to talk because we're like, oh, we can't see you, so let's do a Zoom call. And it's like,
Yes.
we haven't seen, like, we don't ever really see them. So like, why is it so urgent now? Because we can't. So it's kind of,
Yeah.
it's been really fun to really sort through things like that and realize, like, even when life opens back up, if
Yeah.
we can't go to a party, we can still have a Zoom. Like, how fun would it be to have actual people and a Zoom up on a projector where your friends that couldn't make it could still stop in and say hi? These are things we can do now, and it feels normal, which, we wouldn't have been able to do or even thought of doing before. So
So
I think
true.
a lot of, we've personally lost 5 people
Yeah.
over the
Ugh.
last year. So that's a lot of loss. That's a lot of loss. And that's a lot of not being able to go to memorials or funerals or
Yes.
things. It's a lot of
Yeah.
having to deal with things, a little bit, more, which is, in some respects, I'm kind of not the memorial funeral type of a person. So it was kind of like a pass, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I know that's really hard on some people that felt like, they really needed that closure and to say goodbye. So we've all kind of had to figure out our own ways to deal with that. But at the same time, it's just, what an amazing adventure this is, this life thing that we call.
It's so
What
true.
an adventure it is.
It's so
What an
true.
adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So any projects that you can talk about that's coming up for you
Well,
besides
I
tax season?
um, well, industry-wise, the one thing that I can talk about is because my husband and I produced it, and I have to tell you, I have always been on the other side of the camera, but it's called Star Craving Actress, and it's it's a parody on Hollywood and how cutthroat it sometimes feels, but it's all in good fun. But we actually did it last January, so right before everything hit also. And I had never been on the producing side really of it. And I tell you, before even we went into production, like doing the scenes, being an actor, I sat down and I was like, I think I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. Like, it's like my nerves were so like, oh my God, am I gonna get all this done? SAG paperwork and insurance and everything. I'm like, oh my God. So it was a big feat for me to do that and also act. I did realize, hey, you also need to prepare your act. Not that I think I did a good job, but I'm like, oh, I should have taken more time, because in my head I'm like, let me get this scene out because we got to get everybody lunch and we got to, you know what I mean? So it helped me to know next time, really compartmentalize and do acting when you're acting and do producing when you're producing, and not mix them both, because that makes it even harder. But yeah, Start Craving Actress, and it's on
Where can
Heckler
we see it?
Films.
Where
Oh
can we
yeah.
see it?
My husband's production company is called hecklerfilms.com, and it should be on there.
Are you doing film festivals? Are you doing anything with it, or just kind of a release to the public, or what's your?
Yeah, so we are submitting it to festivals, but I don't know if you've been in the festival circuit for 2020. That is another thing that it has happened where it's not like it usually is, so it's interesting getting the notifications or not getting notifications for a while. So we're still in that process with that, but it is on the website, and we're actually giving it to the public for free, but we also have swag for Star Craving Actress. The reason we have it is to hopefully, my husband and I were the only ones that put money in it. So we're hoping to make back some of the money we put in. But no, that was our big take. And my web series Friends on a Bench, we've been doing Friends on a Bench every 2 weeks like this, because we can't be in in the same room, but it's at least helped keep things moving, right? And keep things going in my brain of like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna have fun now. So
That's cool.
yeah, so we're just trying to do as much as I can, which I'm sure everyone else is, in the parameters that I have.
So I'm going to put links in the description. I'm going to put links to all your stuff, because I know everybody's going to want to check it out, and also put links to your work, because you have like a real job too. The whole tax.
Yes.
So yeah, you're one of our few friends that have a real job. I'm just going to say that. Actually, the kids got Merrick for last Father's Day, got him a shirt that said, acting is my real job.
It is, right?
It's more than a full-time job, and everybody that is an actor knows that everybody puts more than the 40 hours a week in it, because you got class, you got to work, you got to audition, you got to
Yes, it's so true. It's so true. And people not in the industry, they don't understand. No. Like my family from Illinois, like I don't think they realize that I make money acting, even though I'm not, Angelina Jolie yet, I'm like, no, you guys, I'm doing good. Like, they're like, all right. Okay.
I'm from the Midwest too. That's one of the things we've kind of bonded over. I think originally is we both kind of have that Midwest roots, but yeah, my family like totally clueless as to like, you're still doing that photography thing? Yeah, I am doing that photography.
That thing. Yeah.
So Merrick acts. What else does he do? Like, yes, like
Right?
That's it. You know, he used to be an electrical engineer, and my mom was like, well, why would he quit that? I'm like, never mind.
Yeah. You
This is
wouldn't
one of those
understand.
things that if you have to explain, you're not going to get anyway. So just
Exactly. Exactly.
so yeah, it's funny, but I love visiting with you, and we need to just hang out more often, even if it's via Zoom. And
Oh,
I know all
yes.
my viewers enjoyed getting to listen to all your insights. And I again encourage you guys to, if you have questions, reach out to Emily. Don't be ashamed, don't be shy.
No.
Just it is what it is. We're all there. We've all
Yep.
done things that we shouldn't have done. We've all like forgot receipts or whatever, and it's fixable if you fix it. It's not fixable if you ignore it. So
Totally.
do reach out to Emily. And is there any parting words of wisdom you would like to share?
You got this. Don't be scared. You're gonna be okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with Emily and I. Make sure you leave her tons and tons of comments on this. Share this with everyone that you know. And most importantly, have an amazing day. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Text or call today so that we can get you effective headshots that you can use as part of your marketing strategy. Headshots by Peggy, how can I help you?